What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. And as you can see from the title of this episode, we're talking about creatine. Now, there's going to be a bit of a bias in today's episode talking about it more specifically for women, because I don't know what's happening with the whole supplement industry just now, but there's obviously a lot of marketing going over or being targeted out to everyone, really. I have had past clients, I've had current clients, I've had random friends reach out to me and ask me about this supplement creatine. Now, when I look back at the episode library that I've done, we've done a few episodes on supplements, but we've never actually dove straight into creatine. And I thought, well, why not dive into it? So that's what today's episode is going to be about. I've got an idea in my mind to go deeper into the whole supplement topics, because there's a lot of, I guess, just misunderstanding of the importance that supplements play. So that is going to be a theme for the next couple of weeks. So what I would urge you to do, if you've got any questions when it comes to supplementation, when it comes to maybe even blood work or anything else that comes into the mix of this, then please reach out. Please fire some questions over. Keep an eye on my Instagram as well, on the Coach Crossar page, because I'm definitely going to start posting some things on there, getting some common questions. And I've got some on the subject of creatine. So, let's jump into it. Creatine then, what is it first of all? Why is there such a hype around it? Well, I think it really comes from two things. Number one, I think there's well over 600, 700 different studies that's been done on this supplement. And a vast majority of them, if not all of them, have came back with positive markers, right? There's very little negative side effects when it comes to this supplement. Now, it almost seems like too good to be true when you type into Google, what is creatine and what are some of the benefits? And when you hear things like more strength, more performance, more endurance, better brain cognitive health, and the list is generally endless. It's such a great longevity supplement. You start to think to yourself, hang on a minute, if it's so good, why is it so cheap? And this is where we're going to address the first point. One of the best things that happens to any industry, when is this good a product that hasn't been patented or can't be patented, there can be multiple companies that can produce it. Now, if multiple companies produce it, there isn't a scarcity, there isn't a demand for the product. So we as the consumer, we benefit from this and we get it for pretty duck cheap. I was looking at some of the prices back in the day. So in 2012, you could get a tub of creatine, which was 30 servings, which would do you about a month. And that tub of creatine back in 2012 would have cost you £39.26 on average. Now, we're obviously, everything is going to go up in price as time goes on, but you can pick up a tub of creatine just now for roughly about 25 quid, and that can be 2 month servings in some cases. Now, I have a little bit later in this episode, I've got a little collaboration that I'm going to shout out. You might already see the subtle hint from the t-shirt that I'm wearing, but we'll move on. So creatine, what is it? Well, simply let's get the analogies out. One of the analogies we always use here is about driving. So imagine your body is traveling, your body is the car, and you're driving to a destination. Well, creatine is the energy, it's the fuel that you would put into your body to get you there. And it gets a wee bit more complex, because obviously we've used this analogy for nutrition in the past, and it absolutely is the same. One of the energy molecules that we have is called ATP. And this is what creatine is, essentially. It's that additional fuel that we can supplement with, or we can get it from mainly meats. It's probably worth mentioning, if you fall into someone who doesn't eat a lot of meat, and the reason I'm biasing this towards women, because I'm yet to have any of the women that I've trained over the last 4 years, very little of them were hitting their protein intake. And if you're not hitting your protein intake, then you're very deficient, or you're missing out so many gains on the table when it comes to creatine. Now, even if you're someone like me, this is something that I've kind of caught myself off guard with. I eat steak every single day. Right, or most days I eat red meat. Most days I'm eating chicken. I have no issue hitting my protein. So I just automatically thought, well, you know what? There's no need for me to supplement creatine because I get enough of it from food. But when you dive into how much food you would have to eat to get 5 grams worth of creatine, then it is like some people may hit it, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty damn hard to. So if you look at the Aldi steaks or Lidl steaks that you get, they're roughly like 220 grams, right? You need to eat 5 of them to get 1 serving of creatine powder. So even if you're someone who consumes a lot of red meat or consumes a lot of fish, you're still leaving a lot on the table. Now, it might mean that you don't need to have a full serving of it, but out of all of these studies, out of the 600 odd studies, as I said, there is little to no downfalls of this supplement. And it's very rare that we find something in the fitness space, in the supplement space, that gives us this much of a benefit. So on one hand, I think that's why it seems to be this common thing or this common conversation that comes up. On the other hand, you're looking at the benefits, as I said, and you're seeing more muscle, more strength, better physique, fat burning, like all the buzzwords that you hear when it comes to supplementation. And I think we're at a stage now as consumers, as people in the fitness space, that you hear some of these things and you just think, nah, they're trying to scam me. But one of the newer popular creatine supplements on the market is creatine gummies. And this is where these conversations have happened with me and some friends, me and clients over the last couple of weeks, where I've got a random message. It's like, here, what's the difference between creatine gummies and should I be taking them? So it's not that the gummies are this kind of new shiny object that's on the market. It's the benefit is in the creatine itself, right? So we know since the 1950s, I think we started doing some studies on these, that every single person, there is a strong possibility to take creatine. And I'll go on to common questions at the end of like, is there anyone who shouldn't take creatine? In short, not really. There's a 99.9% chance that every single one of you guys listen to this will benefit by taking the supplement creatine. So let's break down like what type of person you are and how does creatine benefit you. So we're going to start with, most of you guys are probably training, most of you guys are lifting weights, most of you guys are maybe doing high rocks, running, CrossFit, and whatever it is. One of the main benefits, or one of the main avatars of fitness individuals that are promoted to take this product, is anyone that is looking to sculpt and shape their body, anyone in the bodybuilding scene, anyone that's looking to add muscle and add size to their body. So strength training athletes, anyone who's lifting weights, anyone who's resistance training, it's almost a given that you should be taking this. And it's the same for every single category. I'll tick some of the boxes so you can see why. But you're looking at increased power. You're looking at heavier weights being lifted inside the gym, improving the muscle recovery between sets, and helping you maintain a lean muscle mass while cutting out body fat. Now, interestingly enough, when you look at the research, and one study doesn't define that this is going to happen to everyone, but when you see multiple studies coming out, you can expect for natural lifters like an additional 2 to 6 pounds of lean body mass. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot over the course of 6 months to a year, but if you're already in the gym and you're working your butt off, this slight advantage or this additional advantage, why would you not want to take that? And what I'm going to come on to the bias towards women, because there is, as a fitness space, we've definitely fucked you girls up more than the guys. The guys, we're the meatheads, we fucking take anything. But for women, the way that it's been marketed is put a lot of apprehension into women deciding if they want to take it or not. So I'll come on to that in a little sec. So strength training athletes, absolutely. Resistance training, adding size, why wouldn't you want to do that? Now, more importantly, endurance athletes. So the same again, like if you are driving down the motorway and you're driving to a destination and you're putting that foot down to go faster, you're going to burn more fuel. So it's even more important if you are that person that's in the gym and you're working out and you're working hard on double day training. Again, this is a supplement that you want to be taking because it's replenishing that energy and giving you a better recoverability and also increasing your performance. So in the endurance side of things, you are going to feel more hydrated. And this is the key thing that creatine does, right? There's a clear distinction, or maybe even a mess up in terms of what most people think creatine does, because a lot of people will see that the scales have went up, and that's because it fuels the muscle cell with more water. It's a more hydrated a more hydrated muscle cell. What does that mean? Well, it means it can perform better under whatever stress of load that you're applying it to. But when you hear like more water, you think of bloat, and that's not necessarily what's happening there, because it's inside the muscle. Best way to describe this for the guys out there: you're doing your bicep curls. After you do 4 sets of 12, you'll feel that your arms are pumped, and this is your muscle cells getting more hydrated. So that blood, that pump that you're getting from those bicep curls, it looks thicker, it looks juicier. It gives you that sculpted shape towards your body. For women, hip thrusts, I think most women want to see their glutes developed, want to see the kind of curvedness on their bum. Doing a bunch of hip thrusts or a bunch of squats or Bulgarians, after you finish those sets, you feel the muscle pump, and that's what creatine's doing, right? It's giving that more fuller look for longer throughout the day. So don't get that confused with the whole, I'm gaining weight. I'm going to come on to that in a little sec, but when you're looking at areas of performance, you've got a vast majority of fitness, right? There is no category of fitness where creatine shouldn't be used, right? There is generally nothing. Now, a lot of us think of, okay, it's just for the muscle building, but and there's a line drawn after that. It's like, well, I do kickboxing, I don't need to take creatine. Oh, I do martial arts, I don't need to take creatine. False. So let's go through these categories. High intensity training. Your conditioning classes, there's probably more of a need for those guys to take it because you're outputting so much energy. The foot is down, the pedal to the metal, you're driving so fast, you're burning so much fuel, you want to replace that. So boosting energy production, short bursts of intense exercise is going to help reduce your fatigue in those environments. It's going to enhance your endurance stuff. So if you're doing a lot of sprinting, a lot of explosive work, you're going to become more explosive because there's more energy to propel you through that. Now, the next thing, I guess, if you want to talk about the CrossFitters, it's the same idea, isn't it? Improving explosive strength. You've got obviously different different WODs, should I say, different moods, and you can speed up the recovery between those different workouts that you're exposed to. For combat sports, though, the strength in the striking, the strength in your strikes, the strength in your grappling, like these are all like, think of your body as a whole function. Whether you want to run fast, whether you want to bench heavy, whether you want to squat, you want to punch, you want to jump, all of those functional patterns are enhanced more or have a better way of performing if you have this supplement, creatine, in it, right? And it's actually bizarre that we can get this far and not actually do a deep dive topic on this. But there is one thing that can be easily overlooked here, okay? Now, creatine isn't just a plaster to overshadow any other markers of the key pillars when it comes to your health and fitness. So training, recover, when it comes to the sleep side of things, and nutrition, if those things aren't being taken care of as well, then yes, you're going to see some increases with those types of sports by adding this supplement in. But you're still better to focus on your nutrition. You're still better to focus on your sleep and your recover, or your ability to recover, and how often you are training. Now, it's probably important to mention here, hydration is another one that's going to be bolstered onto these episodes. Not today's episode, but when it comes to sodium, when it comes to actually properly hydrating your body, because this is what is needed to maximise our creatine, or maximise the supplement creatine. But at the end of the day, if you're drinking 2 to 3 litres of water for most people and supplementing with this, then you're probably in a good space. Sorry to interrupt this episode, but since we're talking about creatine, one of the partners that I've recently started working with is Pit Stop Nutrition. Now, you can use the code Bulletproof to get 10% off. And of course, like most supplement companies or all supplement companies, they sell creatine. Now, Pit Stop Nutrition sell this in a 60 serving tub. So that's roughly about 2 months worth of servings for about £20 if you use the code Bulletproof. So if you're going to buy it, why not support your local business? And don't worry if you're not local to Glasgow, he ships all over the UK. Right, let's get back to the show. Now, creatine isn't just for the functional movement patterns when it comes to the way our body performs, but also how our brain functions. Mentioned it earlier, the brain the brain cognitive benefits that we have when it comes to sports, the decision making, the sharpness, the ability to react in these certain situations, again, is another benefit here. So improving the sprint speed and your agility, but also supporting those repeated efforts within a game. So if you think in sporting environments, obviously boxing and fighting's under the same category here, but you're doing that same repetitive stress, being able to recover from that. Now, more importantly, as I said, supporting the focus, reaction time, and memory. This has to be one of the most underrated benefits when it comes to creatine, okay? Anyone over the age of 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80 and beyond, this is going to be a supplement that we're going to see general practitioners, the NHS is going to push this product more. I'm telling you now, we're already seeing it happening in America. And this is one of the things that we see here in the UK. We're always 5 years behind. But the cognitive benefits that older individuals will get by taking creatine is remarkable. Just how sharp and how, from a, like a, I don't know how to explain it, but just how healthy their brain seems by introducing this is crazy. Now, I've had the luxury of doing this with luxury, that's not the right word, but been fortunate enough that a couple of older individuals who came to me and trusted me with their health and fitness goals. And when some of them we've introduced creatine, a massive difference in terms of their energy and their sharpness in their brain as well. Now, again, it's not a plaster that can just go over poor lifestyle decisions. You still need to work on all these aspects. But let's be honest, we are in a position where if there's something there that can be taken to make this marginal improvement, then why not take it? Okay, so that kind of should hit home. What is creatine? What's it doing and what areas of our life can it improve? I would brand this supplement as a longevity supplement for sure. This is something that isn't just for fitness fanatics. This is for every single individual, whether you work out or whether you don't. Now, if you don't work out, there's a strong possibility you're not listening to this podcast anyway. But even if you do not work out, the benefits that you can get from supplementing with creatine, because I would take a strong guess that you're already protein deficient, right? You're already lacking the essential amino acids from your day-to-day life, right? So when we look at your protein intake being down, then there's a strong possibility that you're not getting anywhere near a sufficient amount of creatine on a day-to-day basis. So when you add this supplement in, you're going to see benefits of improved memory, sharper reaction times, improved energy, which is then going to lead on to other areas of your life. Now, is there anyone who shouldn't be taking it? Well, there's two categories of individuals, right? One category of individuals, this isn't just for creatine, this is for anything when it comes to supplementation. Anyone that has any sort of liver diseases or liver complications, but most of you guys will know this if you know you've got a liver disease or liver complications, you're probably in talks with your GP and all this sort of stuff. And probably the first thing that they're going to say to you is, do not take any supplements. This goes from whey powders to anything. Because I think you also need to monitor your protein intake because your internal processor just isn't working efficiently. So that, again, is going to be not for those individuals. But that's not necessarily just because it's creatine. It's just because it's the complications that your body's going through with that. Okay, and the other category of individuals is simply those of you who are eating a shit ton of meat and fish. You generally don't need it. But let's be honest, as I said, to hit those dietary requirements to get enough of the 5 grams daily, you probably need to take upwards of 5,000 calories, and there's probably more downsides of getting that from red meat than there is from just supplementing with it. So let's dive into the marketing side of things, right? This is where, for women in particular, and guys, like, hear me out in this one as well, because it's probably worth knowing, because we all get into the same conversation. You might think, like, why is there a label inside a supplement store saying creatine for women and creatine for men? What is the differences? Well, it's the same when it comes to razors. Like, guys aren't going to buy a pink packet of razor blades. Some might, but most of us won't. We want Gillette, we want whatever it is. Like, we want that kind of masculine brand. And that's really what it comes down to. But there is something that the supplement industry and the fitness space has fucked up for women. So, common misconception, as I said, is bloating, right? If you look at what women go through every month, they go through their periods. And one of the most or those who experienced crazy hormone fluctuations when it comes to storing bloat or being bloated and not bloated. Men rarely get this, right? We probably get this after eating too much food or drinking too much beer or whatever it is, right? Women go through this on a monthly basis. Some women go through it on a weekly basis. And we can usually point back to a nutrition side of things, but there is a part that plays on the hormonal health of a woman, on the month to month, on their period cycles and so on. So when the supplement space comes out and you hear that, what does creatine do? It's like, oh, it stores more water in your muscle cells. You think to yourself, well, I don't want to have more water inside my body. Like, that feels horrible. But the best way to look at this, and I heard this on an episode from the Mind Pump guys. This is where this episode's inspired from. See it as hydration, right? And this is an easy way to explain because, like, Jill, my wife, she's so dedicated towards this nightly routine of washing her face and hydrating her face and all this sort of stuff. When you think of your skin, and we think of dehydrated skin and hydrated skin, you would want hydrated skin every single day, wouldn't you? Because that's a healthier skin in your mind. That's the way to look at your muscle cells. A hydrated cell is the sculpted cell. A hydrated or more water inside your body does not mean bloat. Okay. Now, is there cases where someone may take creatine and feel more bloated? Yes, right, potentially. But hear me out on this one. I don't think this is a byproduct from the creatine necessarily. I think there could be maybe some underlying issues when it comes to gastrial distress, where substances put into your body, the body just doesn't work with it well, and it stores that as bloat or has that a reaction as bloat. It might be kind of changing up the dosage of certain things that you have, and maybe looking at other areas of your diet. But again, for 99.9% of you who are listening to this, and that is women, you don't see that as an issue. Now, the other thing here is weight, right? Weight on the scales. You'll expect the scales, depending on how much muscle mass you have, because you're filling up that muscular cell with more water. So that water being stored is going to add weight to the scales. Now, it's not drastic. Don't get me wrong. In some cases, it can be, depending on how much muscle mass you have. But this is where the disconnection of weight in the scales, meaning that you're fat or skinny, has to go, right? The performance benefits and the overall benefits that you can get from taking creatine outweigh that fucking number on the scale. So don't let that number kind of keep you or mess with your head. If anything, just don't weigh yourself for 3 months and pay attention to feeling, oh, I've got more energy, I'm lifting more weights in the gym, I feel stronger in the gym, I feel sharper, my endurance definitely feels better, I feel like I'm recovering quicker from workouts. Right, cool. They're all benefits to hold on to, other than the scale saying, oh, you went from 63 kilos to 63.4 kilos and having a panic attack from you thinking that that's body weight, or that's body fat, should I say. So they are that in itself, those two things has been what's been marketed towards women. And this is where the supplement industry has played on that fact and went, how can we get more people buying our product? Let's say we've got this creatine here that doesn't give you bloat. There's no such thing, right? The creatine doesn't give you bloat in the first place. Again, that's just shitty marketing, confused most of the population, and now it's a myth that's in the fitness space. And it's all because marketing has been geared towards women to buy one with a pink label. And you'll see these fitness influencers on Instagram, and they're always selling their supplement and all this sort of stuff. So this brings me on to the next thing, right? What is the best creatine to buy? Well, creatine monohydrate is the one that's been mainly, or is the main one that all the studies have been done. It's the cheapest one on the market, and it is all you need, right? You don't need anything else. You don't need any, I think there's a supplement brand that's popping off that's the gummies just now, and they're coming with electrolytes and all that. Now, it's a very smart play, but again, I would be questioning, because I think you have to take 6 or 7 gummies per if you had a scoop of it, you just need 1 scoop in some water. Now, you can get flavoured creatine, you can get plain creatine. I would say the plain one's fine. One of the best ones to use is just a plain flavour, chuck it in some water the night before, shake it up, and it's dissolved by the morning. You don't have that grainy, sandy feel, like don't get me wrong, sometimes you do if you've just scooped it in, but here, it's still worth it. Okay, so let's come on to some common questions and myths. Now, some of the questions that I got over the last couple of weeks, so we've addressed some of these here, but I'll go over them just for the sake of the episode. Do I need creatine if I eat a lot of meat? So the answer is, well, I used to think no, but when you kind of break it down of how much meat that you need to eat on a day-to-day basis, the answer is yes, because you're still leaving a lot on the table. Now, the next question I got was, will it make me look bulky? And again, this comes from the bloat, right? When you think of bulky individuals, you think of the strongman or powerlifters who's kind of beefed up and jacked up, and they don't necessarily look healthy on the typical avatar, do they? The answer again is obviously no. It's water retention inside the muscle, not in or outside the muscle. That again is your bloat. That is your thickness. The water retention inside the muscle is muscle fullness. And again, back to the explanation of you're in the gym, you're working out a muscle group, you feel that muscle pump, and it kind of looks more defined, more sculpted in that area. That's the best way to analyse, right? That's what it's doing. That's what creatine's doing. Does it cause bloating? As we said, for most people, it's not going to. There is going to be some individuals, as I said, who have some sort of condition. Now, this isn't because of creatine, but just certain types of foods and certain types of substances cause their body to react in a way where they are more bloated. But again, that could be more gastro distress and might be something that you want to go to your GP and sort of work out what's going on there. The body is very complex, and it's a shame that we just write off certain things. If that is you and that happens, like, there's only one way to find out, and it's trying it out for a month, trying it out for a couple of months, messing about with the dosage, which is the next question here. How much should I be taking on a day-to-day basis? A lot of people say like front load, but I think most of the research over the last couple of years has pointed to that doesn't really necessarily matter as much. So 5 grams per day, which is usually a serving, it's a scoop that you take. Okay, another question here, which is quite comical. Is creatine a steroid? And the reason this constantly gets accused of being a steroid is because of the benefits that you see from it. You type in, what is creatine good for? And as I said, you get strength, muscle, performance, endurance. You think, man, this seems way too good to be true. Like, maybe this is just a category of, like, I actually remember getting creatine when I was younger, and my mum was in fact, no, it wasn't creatine first, it was protein powder. My mum binned it instantly. She's like, you're not taking that stuff. And I was like, why? She's like, you're not taking steroids. I'm like, it's fucking strawberry protein. What the fuck is going on here? So you can imagine when it was a black tub of creatine. And she's like, absolutely not. But no, it is not a steroid. And again, one of the reasons that some people have pointed that this is a steroid is because of this next question is, does creatine cause hair loss, right? So this is a wee bit complex, but there is a hormone in our body called DHT, right? Now, creatine is shown in some research that increases that hormone, right? Or it increases that receptor, should I say. And when that hormone is increased, one of the side effects is obviously loss of hair. Now, hair loss is way, way more complex than just a hormone kind of being increased. It can be genetic, you can be predisposed to it. So there has been reports of individuals saying that they've lost their hair by taking creatine. I'm a bit of a skeptic when it comes to this. Obviously, there's guys losing their hair throughout their 20s. Personally, I have yet to see someone who has lost their hair through creatine. It's not the... Again, it can be a bit of a scaremongering tactic. It's these headlines that you see from Sky News or the Daily Mail and all that sort of stuff, like creatine causes hair loss. And when you dive into it, the marginal increase that it makes to that hormone is nowhere near some of the other things like your diet, your sleep, your stress, how you work out, how much body fat you're holding on to, etc. It doesn't come close to any of these other factors, and it's very multifaceted and quite complex to say, oh, it's because of this supplement. So again, don't worry about that one. Okay, and some of the last kind of questions here, again, another myth here, is creatine bad for your kidneys? It's absolutely safe, right? It's funny that people ask these questions, be apprehensive in this, but what do? They hammer drink. If you drink more than a glass of wine per week, you're doing more damage to your kidneys than steroids or drugs and all these other things, which is mental. When you actually dive into it, it's absolutely crazy that we just accept alcohol and we don't necessarily care too much about some of these other things, or we're quick to point fingers. Okay, last question here. When's the best time to take it? Anytime. It's where you can be most consistent with it, whether it's the powder form, whether it is the gummies that you go for because you are going to be more consistent when it's gummies. Like at the end of the day, it's a scoop in a bit of water, drinking the water, done, right? It's not going to an hour run. Like people, like there's that lady that I follow on Instagram. She ran a half marathon every day for 1,000 days. Some of us can't even drink a litre of water every day for 10 days, never mind 1,000 days. So like it needs to become part of your habit stack, your morning coffee. Put it in your morning coffee, something I actually used to do, where you stack it with something that you already do. So if you're already having a cup of tea, it's not going to change the texture or anything like that. But yeah, a wee scoop to go in there. You could even put it in your diluting juice. Just another one to throw out there. So there you have it. Ladies in particular, don't be afraid to take creatine. If anything, creatine is one of the best things that you girls can take to see a massive improvement when it comes to your gains, because you're already protein deficient. So that means that you're not eating as much meat and you're leaving more energy stores on the table to push through those workouts. So you see a massive benefit. So let us know how you get on. Now, as I said earlier on, I am wearing a nice new t-shirt here from the lovely Pit Stop guys. I was in seeing him on Friday, and I wanted to kind of I had Neil on the podcast and really liked his story, really like what he's doing in the supplement space. I'm not a bodybuilder, right? Clearly. And most of you guys listening to this aren't either. But when it comes to supplements, they absolutely play an important role in our overall health and fitness journey. Are they needed? No. But there is areas of supplementation that it's probably worthwhile exploring and seeing how it does for your journey. So I sat down with Neil, and those of you who work with me, I'm going to have a kind of pit stop range in the Bulletproof Studios, which is good to get some of your supplements for if you want to take it. But you guys who listen, wherever you are in the UK, if you're overseas, then sorry, this doesn't apply to you. But you can get a cheeky little discount by listening to this show, and you can get creatine from Pit Stop and get a cheeky little discount, as I said, if you use the code Bulletproof. I'm not going to spice this up any more than where it needs to be. Creatine is creatine at the end of the day. Most supplement shops and supplement companies make it. I just thought if there's one person that I'm going to support, it's going to be Neil, who's pretty local to me. And if you want to support the show and support him, then get your creatine through Neil. He's got it listed on his website where you get 2 months, so it's 60 servings. So it's about 2 months worth of creatine powder for just shy of like 20 odd quid that you're going to get it for, or roughly about 20 quid, which is nothing, right? So you can get this. You don't have to, you can go into the store and pick it up. You can get it delivered, but use code Bulletproof if you are, and that will, I guess, support me, support him, and support you guys with your health and fitness journey. So fuck the big brands. Stick with the local brands. This is like going to your local coffee shop instead of going to a Starbucks. Now, I know I said in the last episode that I love a Starbucks, but I want to support the smaller businesses even more so. So if you want to do that, then by all means do that. As I said, code Bulletproof, the link for that will be in the show notes to his website. And yeah, hopefully you've got some good takeaways from this episode. As I said, I do want to dive into the supplement side of things, because supplements is a shit show, right? Some people spend mad money on supplements, and is it needed for guys like me and you, or guys and girls like me and you, where we just want to be fitter, we just want to work out, we want to feel good in ourselves? Some might say yes, some might say no, so we're going to dive into that over the next couple of weeks. Again, as always, thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you've got a question, hit me up, let me know on Instagram at bulletproofmindset __ or on my coaching page at Coach Crossar. No underscores, just Coach Crossar. So yeah, until next time, have a great one, and I'll see you guys